welcome inside Rito's Mexican Food. We're out here in Mesa for the SunDevilSource Podcast presented by Jones Auto Centers. Gabby Chernoff and Chris Cartman, joined by a very special guest today, a new ASU quarterback transfer all the way from Kentucky, Cutter Boley. We'll be speaking with Amaran Miller and Parker Jones, the man himself, a little bit later on in the episode as well. Cutter, a little bit different weather out here, nice, warm, dry. You said you caught a spring training game. How's it been out here so far for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Everybody's been so welcoming. The transmission's been almost hiccup-free, and just being out here in the weather and around all these people has been amazing so far.
What's this winter strength conditioning program been like? How different is it from what you were used to at Kentucky? Joe Connolly led the strength and conditioning coach, and getting a bond with all these new teammates that you have. Yeah,
I can't say enough about Coach Joe and how much I love him so far, and kind of the regimen he builds for all of us players and the workouts we've been going through. I can see definite changes in my body since I've been here for sure, kind of flipping my composition, and Coach Joe and CC and all those guys in the weight room do an amazing job. And I think all the transfers and all the new guys really feel that, and they really enjoy being in the weight room too. One of our team mottos is to have more fun working harder than anyone else in the country, and I truly believe that's the way we roll. And everybody just loves being in the weight room, being around each other, and everything's been great.
And then from when you were back at Kentucky, you were starting as a redshirt freshman. What was that like for you? I mean, kind of managing maybe expectations when you were still pretty fresh into college. What was it like trying to play through that, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, no, I learned a ton. Last year was I got a lot of experience, and I grew a lot. I made a lot of mistakes that I learned from, and I kept getting better throughout the season and kept taking steps. And I came here for Coach Dillingham to continue to progress my development and to continue to get better. But yeah, last year was it didn't turn out exactly how we wanted it to as a team, but I think individually I took steps and getting better as a player and better as a person as well. And I'm excited to continue that growth here at ASU.
What'd you learn about just the gauntlet of defenses that you're going up in the SEC? I watched some of your games. I mean, you're playing some of the best defenses in the country all of the time. It's your first opportunity to play at that level and start. You mentioned things that you learned and that you're going to be able to grow and get better as a result from it. Can you just go through some of that?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing I learned is just leave it all out there. Just leave everything out in the field. And the biggest thing that I learned from last year, I think, is the preparation. Your preparation puts you in a comfortable position on the field. Your comfort level is going to be dictated on your level of preparation and how you get ready and how you prepare for each individual opponent in that week, and how hard you truly work and how much time you spend on it. That's going to reflect during the game, your comfortability level out there playing with the guys. So, I think that's one of the biggest things I learned. My key takeaway was to just keep building my regimen and keep building my schedule and just doing all the little things and, just to continue to get better.
And Kentucky hired new head coach end of last year. What was it like for you kind of navigating whether you're going to stay or leave? And, I mean, you committed to ASU pretty quickly right out the gate. What kind of drew you to this place after you made the decision to enter the portal?
Obviously Coach Dillingham, I had a relationship with him in high school, both when he was at Oregon and ASU when he first got to ASU. But, it was really Coach Dillingham and how he deals with quarterbacks. Coach Arroyo as well was a huge part of it, and just how they develop quarterbacks and their knowledge of the game and how they can develop me and put me into the best situation to get me to the next level, and just like the team mottos, like I said, we have more fun working harder than anyone else in the country. And since I've been here, that has been 100% true in everything we do. And, the guys love being around each other. The guys love being around Coach Dillingham. All the guys feel so comfortable being around each other, being around the coaches. It's such a great environment to be in. It's been awesome so far.
How difficult was it for you to have to leave your hometown? You played in your upperclassmen in Lexington down the road from Kentucky, and starting there as a redshirt freshman. I mean, that's like a dream for so many guys, like in their home state. And Stein came in and you guys, I'm sure you had conversations or whatever. What can you take us into that process and what it was like, and then just the emotion of making a move and how you're feeling about it?
Yeah, for me, I mean, ultimately my dream since I was little is to play in the NFL, not play at any certain college, and if I keep that in mind and I want to do what's best for me as a player and an individual, I felt like I made the best decision for my career and my development to be here at ASU. Nothing but love for everyone at UK and the new coaching staff. I wish them the absolute best. They're good people, and I have a lot of love for Coach Stoops as well. But yeah, just for my personal development and just kind of being like a business decision for my career. My ultimate goal, like I said, is to be and play in the NFL one day. And I think I found the best situation to prepare me to do so. And
you mentioned the learning this offense. Can you kind of compare a lot of RPO stuff that you were doing at Kentucky? Mm-hmm. It seemed like there was a play action component to so many of your guys' plays.
Yeah.
And rhythm-based passing and everything. So how does that scheme compare to what you're learning now?
Yeah, no, there's some similarities. There's some differences in how we call stuff and how we run stuff. I think I was able to take a lot of the stuff that I had learned the last 2 years and really put it in to what we're installing now and the kind of offense we're running now. And I think it helped me out a ton. This offense it's got a lot of differences. It's got a few similarities, but ultimately, it's just about getting in there and learning the offense and, kind of being an extension of Coach Dillingham and Coach Arroyo. That's all I want to be. I want to know how they think. I want to know how they operate, and I want to be able to do that out on the field. It's their system, it's their offense, and I want to be able to run it the best way they see fit.
Mm-hmm. You talk about your dreams to play in the NFL, not one specific college or team where you grew up. Mm-hmm. When you entered the portal, what made you confident that ASU was the spot for you to develop, for you to grow, to get to those NFL dreams?
Yeah, just Coach Dillingham and Coach Arroyo, the type of quarterbacks they've developed in the past and just their offensive mind in general. But I wanted to get in the portal and commit early. I wanted to be able to try to build the guys around me like Amarion, Reed, Raiden, getting those guys out of the portal. We got a ton of guys out of the portal that have been absolutely fantastic so far. And I can't wait to see how it continues to progress through spring ball and see what guys can really do, for sure.
Did you have an idea that ASU was going to bring in this much impactful wide receivers? And as a quarterback, you're looking to who your weapons mm-hmm. are going to be. So
for sure.
But you committed before those guys,
yeah.
Some of them. So what was that like, kind of learning and figuring out what the talent would be like around you, and how do you feel about it now that it's sort of settled and you're with these guys every day?
Yeah, no. Now that it's settled, it is great. We got a ton of good guys at every position, offense, defense, out of the portal that can really play. Like I said, though, that's one of the reasons I committed early. I wanted to get out here and recruit and try to help build this class. And I feel like being a quarterback, you're kind of I'm able to head that, I'm able to lead that a little bit more than some other guys, just because of my position. I'm able to get out there and recruit a little bit harder for some of those guys. So I want to be able to do that early and get with the team and be able to recruit for them, and I feel like I was able to do that and lock in some really good players. And, I'm super excited to start spring ball after this spring break next week and kind of start getting after it a little bit.
So after you committed, were you kind of out, were you talking to guys when they were on their visits? What did that look like for you trying to help with that recruiting?
Yeah, Amarion, Raiden, there's a bunch of guys on my visit. I was talking to Reed over the phone. There's a ton of guys. But, Amarion was on my visit, which was super cool. And he committed the night after I did, which was awesome. And, it was just really cool it's just the transfer portal is such a crazy thing now, and there's guys from everywhere. Football's, it's kind of one of the only sports where you're going to get a guy from every edge of the country. There's such a combination of guys from all over the place, and I think that's awesome. So kind of be able to get in that role and talk to so many different personalities and different types of people, and just be able to make friends with people from all over the country was super cool. And we got a lot of great guys in here, though, for sure.
So from a skill development standpoint, right, people say, okay, maybe a little bit too turnover prone as a redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
That's part of the process, right? What did you take from either those experiences, or things that you know from a skill standpoint that you're really focused on trying to develop and be sharper with, that's going to help you kind of elevate this year and then beyond?
Yeah, one thing I learned is you're not going to win the game in one play. It doesn't matter if you're down 7, 14, 21, you can't get all that back in one play. You just got to continue to stay thorough in your coaching and the offense and what you guys are trying to do. I feel like sometimes I try to be a superhero out there, and make stuff happen that wasn't really there. So just staying to my fundamentals, staying to my coaching, staying to what I've been taught my whole life to do, and that just leads to just a more successful and more, I made some mistakes because I was trying to do too much sometimes. And like I said, though, I learned a ton from last year. I made a lot of mistakes, and being able to learn for those things and get better and grow as a player was super important.
As you kind of start to work with Dillingham and Arroyo, start to learn the playbook, ASU's offense a little bit, where do you feel like your strengths and the kind of player you are fit into that, and how do you think you can kind of weaponize that with the guys you have around you too?
Yeah, my ultimate job as a quarterback is to give it to people who run a lot faster and jump a lot higher than I do. That's my ultimate job. Let them do the work. And I think, like I said, just being an extension of Coach Dillingham and Coach Arroyo and really getting in to learn how they think and how they operate, and just being an extension of them, just operating out there how they want it to be operated, and just kind of gaining all the knowledge from them, because they forgot more football than I've learned, over their career. So it's just super important to me to keep being in the office with them and keep learning from them and just keep getting better.
You may be an underrated athlete, though, especially at your size. I mean, what are you, 6'5", 220 something?
Yeah.
But and maybe you don't have the suddenness of some of those guys, but you can get out and run.
No, I can get out and stride. I'm not out there shaking nobody, but I can get out there and run a little bit. I can get out there and run.
Do you like that? I mean, do you like the read option stuff?
Yeah, no, I mean, when I need to, like I said, like I know I'm not the fastest, most agile guy out in the field, so I'm not just gonna try to I'm not gonna try to take over the game with my running ability or anything like that. But like when I need to step up and I need to run and get down, or I didn't really get down enough last year. That's another thing I learned. I probably need to slide a little bit more in the open field than I did. Once I get the first down, I'm cool. I don't have to take the hit.
Quarterback is kind of important position to stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure. But, I am more than willing to step up and take a hit and step up and, do what my team needs. If we're on the 10-yard line, I ain't sliding. I'm getting in the end zone. But, I can make plays with my feet for sure, but that's not the first thing to come off the board for me.
What is your personality like? Like, who is Cutter Boley? Like, not the football part of you, but just around the guys, or hobbies, interests, things that you like to do?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm trying to pick up a few more hobbies since I've been out here. Trying to get a little better at golf.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good golf. I can't go any of the nice courses yet. I don't want to embarrass myself, but. No, just, I just like being around the guys, really, nothing in particular. I like hanging out with my friends. Like, I like hanging out with the guys on the team. Like we have some really good personalities on this team. We have a lot of really good guys that are super healthy for the locker room, that are they're just fun to be around. It's a fun team to be around. And, I just going out to eat, going to a par 3 course and playing, or, like we went to the spring training game today, just kind of doing like whatever with the guys, is the thing I like to do most. But besides that, I'm a pretty normal guy, I like the things most guys like, but nothing crazy. But yeah, I kind of get in a little bit of a different mode when I'm on the field, like a little heightened. My senses are heightened a little bit, but off the field, I feel like I'm just a regular guy in most areas.
You're better paid than most people your age. I know we're probably not going to get into the dollar amounts, but what is it like, though, playing in this era? You were a high school recruit. NIL was just becoming a thing.
Yeah. Now
you got rev share last year, and now I think people know all these Power 4 starting quarterbacks are making million or multi-million dollars per year. How has that changed things, if at all, do you think? And what about just making sure that you and your teammates still have the type of edge and the tenacity that's required for you guys to all be able to come together and accomplish your goals.
Yeah, ultimately, like, where this money's coming from, you got to remember your roots. You got to remember where you came from and what got you here. That money can get cut real quick, you got to keep producing. You got to keep getting better every single day, so you can't forget where you came from. You can't forget all the work you put in, once you start getting whatever you think's a lot of money, But it's a blessing to even have a scholarship, to even get my school paid for. But, it was kind of just when I was about to come out of high school is when NIL really started to kick in. So, no, it's a blessing. And, I just try to keep my head down and keep working and trying to keep being a better player and a better person every single day. And, I just kind of let God take the wheel and, just trust him, just be obedient and let God do the work. And I think ultimately just like I said, just keeping my head down and getting better, I think God will put me in the place he wants me to be.
Higher goals, obviously.
Higher goals, for sure. Yeah.
What is that like for you? I mean, any college athlete is, a teenager, early 20s, trying to, manage expectations, manage that amount of money that I'm sure, depending on the athlete, so many different schools are throwing at you. What is that like, just kind of being in the headspace of trying to manage that and also, keeping your head down and trying to commit to a school that you think would be the best fit for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely a lot going on now. There's a lot with NIL and all that stuff. There's a lot of different stuff we have to be at and stuff we have to do, but it's just about enjoying it. It's just about being you, being yourself. I kind of found that you don't want to try to be somebody else or be someone you're not. You want to be yourself so you can. And when you're yourself, you're gonna get put in situations that you want to be in and that you're comfortable in. But yeah, no, it's a crazy world with NIL and all the stuff that's going on outside of there's a ton of stuff that goes on, but just trying to keep my circle small and trying to keep the people around me that I know truly love and care for me, have been there my whole life.
What is it? Do you have any mentors or people who kind of help manage that? I mean, you got an agent, obviously, but any family members or friends that kind of help keep you down to earth or just kind of keep you grounded, trying to navigate all of that when it just is changing all the time? Yeah,
definitely my sister and my brother, both my siblings, have been super big role models for me my entire life. Started my love for sports in general. And I can kind of go to them when everything gets hectic, and just remind myself that, to keep my circle small and, life is pretty simple outside of everything else, and you don't got to make it too much, because if you get too much going on, you can start to forget a lot of stuff that's important to you and where your feet are and where your roots are at. But yeah, just trying to stay where my feet are and enjoy the moment and make the best out of every opportunity that's placed in front of me.
What about the hair? You got the signature hair. I can't go anywhere without people talking about it, commenting on the videos and stuff like that. Is this part of the name, image, likeness experience, or what is this?
It's not. It's been the flow. And if everybody knows a good barber out there, anything like that, I need to get hooked up out here. But I need a cut soon. But it's kind of been my flow since sixth grade. I used to have a comb back. I used to comb it back and put a gallon of gel in my hair before school. But I don't do that anymore. I just kind of let it fly. I don't know. I just kind of let it go. It's kind of been my thing, and I don't see myself changing it anytime soon. That's for sure.
Don't you guys have the barber chair in the facility?
We do.
Does somebody come through to take care of that stuff? Or anybody on the team that cuts hair?
I saw. I think someone was in there the other day cutting hair. Someone had somebody come in or something, but no, I haven't checked that out yet. I might need to get. Hopefully one of the guys doesn't botch me or something, but no, I'm playing. But no, I need to get a cut out here for sure. It's not going to look too much different, though. When I talk about a cut, it's like a little trim. Little trim.
Sure. Okay, last serious question. What are the things that need to get accomplished personally and for the team in spring ball?
For the team in spring, just about building that chemistry, with all these new guys. It's about kind of putting that chemistry building on like super speed. You know, that's the kind of the part of getting outside with your guys, going and eat like that. All that little stuff adds up to chemistry. You know, when you get on the field and you know your guys, you know how to talk to them, you know who they are. You know, it makes it a lot different. It makes it a lot more comfortable. So I think just kind of, I think we got a lot of good ball players. You know, we just need to play together as a team and kind of keep building that chemistry and I think that's the biggest thing for us for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry to bring it back to the hair, but Chris just got a fresh cut today.
I did.
What do we think? The master of the flow here. What are we thinking?
No, you got it going. Okay. You got it going.
It's not as impressive probably as yours. Not as signature standout as yours.
No.
Sure.
Maybe they'll let you in the barber chair in the facility.
Yeah,
we'll
there
see.
we go.
We'll see.
We got to do one of these in the barber chair. We got to get them cut at the same time.
There we go.
Behind the scenes look
Behind the
at
scenes,
what
get
it's
a
like
little
with Cutter
conversation.
Boley getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
Cutter Boley getting cut. That's a good segment idea.
It might be good. Cutter, cut it.
All right. Well, Cutter, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll be back with both him and Amaran Miller here shortly. We're going to hear a quick word from our presenting sponsor, Jones Auto Centers, and then we'll be back with Amaran Miller. Cutter, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back to the SunDevilSource Podcast presented by Jones Auto Centers. We're back here now with Amaran Miller, wide receiver transfer from Colorado. A little bit warmer over here than probably what you've been used to.
Yeah,
What's it been like getting acquainted here in Tempe?
Man, it's been really good coming here and, getting accumulated to everything. The weather is definitely better here in Colorado, snow, cold, all that. But I feel like, here at Tempe is a great place. I'm loving the weather. It hasn't got too hot yet, but it's been good.
We wanted to go back and get to your journey of how you ended up at Colorado, you as a recruit. What was that like in high school? You played at the same school all 4 years and developing there and becoming sort of a higher profile guy. What was that like for you?
It was crazy because, growing up coming to high school, I really wasn't a football guy. I played basketball most of my life, and at the time I saw myself pursuing, my dream in basketball. And, once I got to high school, I played football, for 1 year. I ended up breaking my hand like the second day of practice.
Wow.
And I'm like, I can't play this again. My second day of practice, I broke my hand. But I ended up coming back, getting back right, ended up playing a couple games at the end of the season, made some plays, started liking it. And from there, it kind of like, it kind of took off for me my sophomore year. Had a great year. Got my first offer, before I even played my sophomore season. So it's like, imagine if I play, and I do my thing. So, I end up, playing the rest of my, high school career, racking up a lot of offers, going to camps, highly rated camps, getting stars. So, that was good. And,
when did you know that, okay, like I got a chance to actually do something in this sport?
I probably have to say my first 7-on-7 tournament. I was like the only young guy on the team, and I was playing like 12 All-Americans against 5 All-Americans, and I ended up, still in the spotlight from everybody. That's when I realized, I'm meant to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I mean, talk about just your time at Colorado. I mean, obviously the weather here much better. I'm from just south of Denver. I'm going back there tomorrow, but it's supposed to snow, so I'm kind of wishing I was staying here. But what was it like just playing under Deion Sanders? How do you feel like you developed there and then to one of the top portal recruits for this cycle?
My time there was a great experience. Playing for Coach Prime is like a one-in-a-lifetime dream that many people don't get to do. My time there, for me, being there, I played under some great guys, that's in the league right now. Guys like, Xavier Weaver, Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter, LeJontay Wester. Me being so young and learning from those guys, and being from last year to ultimately my turn, it was a blessing to just play there.
And from a development standpoint, where did you feel like you made the most strides last year? on and off the field, like skill development wise, maybe physically or mentally, other things?
I definitely have to say my mental. When I first got to Colorado, I was, my head wasn't where it was supposed to be, coming to college. And I feel like last year, I kind of, realized all the things, I had to, be about and, have the right mindset to do certain things. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I kind of put that together last year. Even with the down season we had, I feel like, I tried to maximize everything that I could and to make it worth something.
Sure.
What went into your decision at the end of last year to enter the portal, especially an in-conference move in the portal to say, hey, I'm going to enter and then eventually land at Arizona State?
I probably have to say the year that we had last year, which was kind of crazy. To me being my last year, and I feel like, I just wanted to go out, I feel like it was my time to, go out and find a better, fit for me overall. And, me coming here, with Coach Kenny Dillingham, with the, the offense he runs, and, just the place, Arizona here itself and, the team, I feel like it was a great fit for me.
Mm-hmm. People are going to draw parallels, of course, because Jordan Tyson was at Colorado and came to ASU. That worked out pretty well for him, playing for this staff. The fact that he accomplished that successfully, did that influence you in any kind of a way? Did you have conversations with him or people around him or maybe the ASU's coaches about what he accomplished at ASU?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely the game that we played, Arizona State and Colorado, we had talk because, like, Jordan Tyson, when I visited Colorado, he was my host on my official visit. So it's like it's kind of crazy that happened. So that Arizona State game was like my first time, chopping it up with him in a while. So it's like after that, we just stayed in touch, and I ended up entering the portal. And once I came here, we was in touch. He talked to my mom and my uncle and all my family members, and we was just chatting about things that he felt like that was good for him and why he came here. And I told him, like, I'm going to do the same. And, now I'm here.
What were those conversations like with him? Like, what did he have to say to you? How did he sell this place to you?
He just, the person Jordan Tyson is, I feel like, if anybody that knows him, he's a great guy. I feel like in his shoes, he was telling me, the things I wanted to hear, how they use him, last season. If you look at it, he was everywhere, all around the place, not just one position. And that's something I vision myself in, to show people that, I'm not like a one-trick pony, you feel me? I can do everything, anything if you put me in the right place. So that's all that really just sold me to it. That was the right thing.
Yeah, and what about the utilization? Do you see yourself as more of a Z or an F in this scheme or an X? I know you can play any of them. You're the freak talent. I mean, people need to understand, this is the highest graded transfer that ASU's had in the transfer portal era. But how do you see yourself and the role?
I see myself here in a great role. Like the guys we have in our receiver room, I pretty much feel like, we all can play different positions, and for me, I feel like, coming here and getting able to, play a different position from last year and, just move around more, I feel like, it sets me up for me, which is my ultimate goal, is to go to the league. And, in the league, you're down to be everywhere all over the field. So I feel like, it's good stomping grounds.
And you're getting coached by Hines Ward, and when Kenny Dillingham hired him, he said, I want someone who my wide receiver room can look at and say, I'm going to listen to this guy because he's been where I want to go. What's it been like being coached by a Super Bowl champion, and how does his kind of, mindset and way of thinking and coaching you guys influence you, and how's it just been working under him?
Man, it's been great to, work with a Hall of Famer receiver coach. I mean, last year, I was with Coach Deion Sanders, which is, he was a cornerbacks coach, didn't really get to do much hands-on things with the wide receivers, but to be able to be coached by a Hall of Fame receiver is like a dream come true, and I feel like, Coach Hines is like the best thing for me in this situation. We had a talk, when I first got here, if I came here, he'll only have like 1 year to, develop me, and he was talking about, with JT, he had a couple years, so me coming here, he's gonna throw a lot of things at me, I got to be able to handle it, and I told him like I'm ready for whatever. So being able to just hear from him every day, and him to coach me every day, I feel like it's a blessing for me, and it's something I look forward to this season.
How much is he talking about blocking with you guys?
Oh, yeah, he's talked a lot about blocking. On my official visit, that's all he was talking about, blocking. You know, I'm a big guy, and I got to showcase that skill of blocking on tape.
Yeah. What do you think about the rest of the weapons around you? You're part of the highest-ranked wide receiver transfer portal, Reed Harris, Raiden Vinesbright. You got other guys that are coming back that have made an impact. What's this group look like, and especially with the quarterbacks that you guys brought in, Cutter, right, Mikey Keene?
Right.
What do you think?
I feel like, this wide receiver group is scary. Like you said, we got, transfer, Reed, Raiden, then we got guys returning. Like Jaden, Derek, all those guys hurt. So it's like, we have a lot of weapons that, everybody's going to get their chance, and there's going to be a lot of plays making from a lot of different receivers, not just one. So I feel like that's something needed, in a receiving corps like this. With me coming to, I feel like, it just can't be, it's good to have a lot of other playmakers around. So, they can't really double team nobody. So, I feel like it's going to be great. And then with the quarterbacks, Mikey and Cutter, obviously, Cutter, that's my guy. We've been hanging around since. And Mikey, great guy, very talented guy, very well known. I would say he's kind of like a vet. He's been in the college for a long time, knows a lot of things. Knows how to operate offensive, and I feel like that's what you need.
Yeah.
I mean, what about the other receivers, kind of getting to know them? A lot of ASU's biggest weapons depart, obviously Jordan Tyson amongst them last year. Got a few returners, but a lot of newcomers as well. So what's it been like kind of getting to know those guys and some of the guys who have been here a while as well?
Yeah, it's been good trying to get to know everybody. I kind of got a grip of, my receivers, getting to know everybody. But I'm still kind of trying to find faces and getting to know everybody. Being like it's my first time transferring, and I'm new to this, so I'm just trying to get a feel for everything, feel my teammates out, and, show faces for sure.
Oh, you're an explosive athlete. I mean, you are take the top off the defense, blow the doors off corners, make it hard to, they're going to give you cushion because of that, right? So who do you look up to? Who do you see yourself as being similar to? What do you think your best attributes are? And what are areas that maybe are still left for you, route running or whatever the case may be?
A guy that I look up to in the NFL, being from Louisiana, I definitely have to say Jamar Chase. My favorite receiver. I feel like we have some similarities in that game.
True story, not joking. Luke Lendler and I have compared you to Jamar Chase. Before we knew that, we were like, this dude is like, he's a Bengals fan.
Oh, yeah?
Shout out Luke Lendler on the podcast.
I'm a Bengals fan too, by the way.
Are you?
Yes, sir.
And we watched your film, and we're like, the guy looks like Jamar Chase. So that's for years you've been looking at his game.
Yeah. Like since LSU, I've been looking at him. I feel like I model my game a lot after him, and I try to do what I can do, and I feel like that's who symbolized my game. And looking forward to my skill set, what things I try to improve on is definitely my route running.
Yeah.
I feel like being that I'm in an offense like this, I'm going to have to improve on route running. I feel like everything else I pretty much have, but I'm still going to get better, at those things like catching the ball. My speed definitely for sure, getting faster. Losing some, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight,
Change the body up a little bit.
Change the body for sure.
What do you weigh now, like 205, 210?
It's like, 210, yeah. So, trying to get to like 205 if possible.
And we asked Cutter this. The game has changed so much, like in your era, with NIL, rev share. You guys are making good money, right? How hard is it to like stay on your grind, stay focused, keep the main thing? Not necessarily just for you, but just for everybody in this dynamic where guys are more comfortable because of the lifestyle evolution.
Yeah, I feel like in today's world with NIL and everything going on, I feel like it's kind of hard, to stay on track, and keep everything, structured and, just focus on football. But I feel like for me, it's kind of, easy because I got the great guys around me, and my parents, they keep the right thing in my head. I never get outside myself. I always try to keep the main thing, and when there's time to, have fun or do what I do, I feel like I do that.
Okay, who's got better hair, you or Cutter Boley?
Nah, Cutter hair is definitely crazy. I never seen that like that. That's crazy.
Wait, do you guys tease him about his hair?
Yeah, we definitely do.
All right, we're getting the real stuff right now. Like, what kind of stuff?
We play here. We play a lot. That's something that like I love here. You know, it's fun and games here. You know, but when it's time to work, we work. But you know, we always joking in the locker room about everybody. But Cutter, he's definitely funny guy. Yeah. Don't let him fool y'all. He's not quiet like he's funny.
What are the fun bonding things that you guys do as a team? Like either in the building or just kind of around town? How do you make sure that chemistry's right?
I feel like right now, just being in the building, but also, you know, on those weekdays, we throw every morning, catch balls every morning. We go get food right after, and you know we bond with the quarterbacks, tight ends, and receivers. Try to, you know, get to know each other as much as possible, because you know at the end of the day, we're going to be on the field together and we're going to be fighting for each other. So you know we gotta fill each other out.
Right on.
Have you picked up any like new hobbies with the guys since coming out here?
I'll definitely say golf. I'm trying to get into golf. Like I suck at golf, but like I'm trying to get into it. I just started eating sushi for the first time, and it's really good, and I'm starting to like it. And there's a lot of good restaurants. Let me just tell you this: I like eating food, and there's a lot of good choices around here that I've been to already. So you know, that's the things I look forward to. Not too much though. I ain't trying to get too fat.
Are you a big foodie then? You like trying everywhere?
Yeah, I pretty much like trying everywhere. I'm a big steak guy, so I try to, you know, go for the big steakhouses for sure.
I'm still trying to get into sushi.
Oh, yeah?
I'm still trying to get into
that.
Yeah,
like I literally started eating sushi when I got here, and now I feel like I'm a sushi guy for sure now.
Okay, so Cutter said he's getting into golf too. So which one of you is the better golfer?
Oh, he's definitely better than me. Yeah, I don't even know how to hit a ball right now. I'm still in the rookie start.
Last question. So you guys visited together, right? Mm-hmm. So were you guys like talking about kicking the whole thing off for the transfer class? I mean, kind of it fell in line after you guys. This is one of the best transfer classes in the Big 12, if not the country. Mm-hmm. And how does it feel to lead that?
Yeah. We was here together. Cutter committed one night. I think the first night we got here. And then I think I committed on the last night. And, you know, after that, we just chatted it up, you know, told each other, like, what we were looking for going into, you know, our goals, you know, with this offense, you know, and just, you know, being in Cutter coming from the SEC, I feel like a lot of people, you know, turn on his film and, you know, just think like he's not a good guy, but you got to realize, you know, he's going to get some great defensive in the SEC.
That's
and
what
I
we
feel
said
like
to him, yeah.
Coming to the Big 12, I told him, like, bro, you're going to tear this up, bro. It's going to be way more easier for you. You're a skilled guy. You know, you're tall. You can see over the offense. Really mobile for his size. And I feel like, you know,
he's an underrated athlete for his size.
Yeah, for sure. Very underrated.
Yeah.
All right, well, I might have to chat for some sushi recs after we get off camera here. But Omarion, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back in just a second. Cutter's going to come on back in as well, and we'll see you after a quick word from our presenting sponsor, Jones Auto Centers. All right, welcome back. We got the duo both here now, and
big duo.
Everyone's looking forward to it. But very serious question first. He said you're the better golfer of the two of you. You're both learning. What is it? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably have to take. I'd probably take him in golf.
Yeah, he definitely got me in golf.
I've probably played a few more times than he did. I'm not great though. I gotta get some lessons, but no, me and O are gonna go out here and we're gonna try to get a few lessons together, get our grip right, how to line up and stuff, and then we'll get a little bit better.
How much do you guys like throw the football around this time of year? Not much?
You know, just right now trying to get back into it, trying to get my arm back up to speed, you know, because I like when the season's over to take like a month and a half, 2 months, not touch a ball, you know, kind of let my arm completely, you know, get into rest and recuperate. But right now, just not very much, you know, maybe 2-3 days a week at most. Yeah, that's about all I'd say. And these guys are running around a lot, so I don't really want, like, with workouts and everything right now, this is kind of the most intense. Like, right now in summer, it will be the most intense it'll be. So I'm trying to keep these guys' leg fresh right now, trying not to rush into anything.
So you guys know each other's football from film that you guys watch, or seeing each other's games on TV, or?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what is the anticipation of being able to get out there in spring ball and really develop that chemistry, and then see what you guys are each capable of, or what you like, certain things, ball here, there, whatever.
I feel like we're ready to get to that point to fill each other out and just get a feel for each other and build that chemistry.
Yeah. This guy, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's like the biggest thing I said earlier is the chemistry part of it. Kind of getting those live reps together. Like, I'm sure you're ready to get in pads and a helmet. Like, I'm just ready to go. Like, I'm ready to get in the spring ball, get it going. But yeah, just building that chemistry. Like, just the more times you run through things, the better you're gonna get. So just kind of getting to that point and doing all that stuff right now like we need to, like the player-led stuff and the walkthroughs and all that is kind of speeding that up a little bit. So it should be a little bit cleaner when we get into spring ball for sure.
Is it difficult to try to be leaders in a new place? Like, how do you go about that process of trying to assert yourself, be respected by all your teammates, but also still kind of be leading?
Yeah.
I feel like for me coming in here, a lot of guys, I was expected, to step into, a much of a leader role being, I'm a senior, coming into my last year, transfer guy with a lot of experience. So, I feel like, I didn't want to come in, going, popping it crazy, but, had to get a feel for everybody, in order to, like, take on a role like that. And I feel like right now, it's that time, to kind of embrace that role and lead my guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of the same way too. Like, not trying to, like I said, just trying to really be myself. Not trying to be anybody else. Not trying to do too much. I'm not a loud guy. I'm not a yeller. Like on the football field it's different. I do what I gotta do. But like outside of that, I'm not like, I kind of lead by example, and I lead by being able to talk to guys on a real level.
Mm-hmm.
Not just yelling at them when it's crunch time. You got to be the same guy when it's crunch time and when you're walking around Tempe Marketplace,
Sure.
You got to be the same dude. So I think just kind of earning those guys respect that, like, I am who I am every day, and, like, what to expect from me every single day. I'm going to come in here and be the same dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just gaining that respect. You don't want to do too much too early, but just gaining respect from the whole team, the coaches, all the guys, and I think that just kind of falls in place how it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one more winter workout tomorrow, and then spring break, and then you guys hit the ground running with spring practices. What's it been like, just kind of working ever since you transferred up to this point, and how excited are you to just kind of get out there and start going?
Yeah, that's the thing I've been looking. Yeah, that's the most look forward to thing for sure. Is just kind of get it going, get into real football, get the pads on, get the helmet on, get it popping, and I'm excited to get the spring ball for sure.
Yeah, I definitely say, it's about that time. I really don't like just lifting and running every day. I'm a football guy, I like throwing some pads and get it popping.
Do people mention Brock Osweiler to you? Brock Osweiler was quarterback at ASU.
Yeah.
You actually kind of look similar. He was like a 6'7". Bigger. Yeah, he was a big unintentional, but sure.
He drops at least one of those every time we do these, and it takes everything in me not to laugh every time.
Yeah,
it's so hard not to. It's just
I know, it's like such a regular thing, and then anytime anybody says it, he's gotten on it too. He spends too much time around us.
But I wasn't. It wasn't on my mind right there. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I have a lot of like guys that I watch, like Herbert being one of them. That's kind of coincidence. I've kind of watched Herbert my whole life. It's kind of the same build, same archetype, doing kind of the same stuff.
Hair.
But yeah, kind of the same hair. Like guys like Josh Allen. There's a lot of guys, but yeah, I have heard Brock Osweiler before. Tall and lanky guy.
Cool. Well, this has been great. Appreciate you guys, coming in, dropping by. Glad that you guys are enjoying the weather out here and everything. So
yeah, it feels great.
We're going to be out there every spring ball practice, pointing out the positives and maybe the not so positives if there are any. But the ASU fans are going to love to be able to get to know you guys in this way and watch what you guys are able to do on the field.
Yes, sir.
For sure, it's going to be a fun season.
Well, thank you guys so much again for joining us. Like Chris said, we'll have you covered all spring ball season long. Maybe a golf update somewhere in there after practice. We can reevaluate.
Maybe a little cut together.
Go film you guys on the course.
Cuts with Cutter. I think you got to start that segment, Chris. All right, well, we'll be back. We'll talk with Parker Jones here in just a moment. Omarion, Cutter, thank you so much again, and we'll see you March 19th for spring ball.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the SunDevilSource Podcast presented by Jones Auto Centers. You've heard us say the name for so long. We got the Jones Auto Centers logo right in the top corner of all of our podcast episodes. Now we finally have the man himself, Parker Jones. We're journalists. We're not supposed to bury the lead, Chris. I mean, this guy's been behind just about every episode. He's the reason we had this event here today with Cutter and Omarion. So, first of all, thank you for getting them out there. Thank you for all you do for us.
Yeah, thank you.
And, I mean, you've been just a longtime supporter of ASU and the NIL efforts. Can you just talk about what kind of led you or made you want to do that and what it's been like just every year, given, I mean, you just got these guys decked up with some new trucks. I mean, talk about just what it's been like working with everybody and bringing those efforts to life.
Sure. So the origin of it was our first NIL athlete was Jaden Daniels back in the day, and my wife is a diehard college football fan. On our very first date, we talked religion, politics, and football. So so we wanted to make sure we were aligned on everything right up front. Is this going to work or not? Okay.
You guys got
You
got right to the point.
And so my wife went to LSU, and she's a diehard Tiger. Okay. And so when the NIL thing all came about, she sent me a text, and she goes, "Hey, Miles Brennan," because this is right after they won the national championship with Joe Burrow. Miles Brennan was supposed to be a good quarterback for him. Didn't pan out. She says, "Miles Brennan just got a Super Duty pickup truck from a Ford dealer in Louisiana. You should see if you could make something happen." And I think I've told you this, Chris. I was originally actually thinking about trying to do something with Michael Turk because he had his Hang Time podcast, his Hang Time channel, and I go, well, maybe that's the way this works. I don't know. Long story short, we ended up getting in touch. Everything starts in this world with a DM, okay? This is 2026, 2025,
Amen.
2020, whenever life starts with a DM. So there was a DM sent, and got in touch with Jaden and his mom and that whole team, and had a great experience with Jaden. And then we were with Emory Jones the second year. Yeah. And
no relation.
that was no relation, if you couldn't tell. That was a trying year for a lot of different reasons. Yeah. And that was not very successful. And then Kenny came in, and I had some pre-existing relationships with parts of that coaching staff in Kenny's first year. And so at that point in time, it was like, let's go as all in as possible for a store of our size. Yeah. And so in Kenny's first year, we provided vehicles to 4 football players. We were with BJ Green. Aaron Frost had some injury issues on the offensive line, never really came to fruition. Elijah Badger, and then Jalen Conyers. And that was a very rewarding experience. Jalen Conyers, I can't say enough. He still sends me his Hot Wheels that he played with as a kid when he goes home back to Grover, and he's cleaning through his closet. He'll send Hot Wheels to my boys for my kids to play with his Hot Wheels. So it's really neat. To kind of complete that thought. We had Sam and Jordan Tyson, Ridley Brown. This last year we just had Jordan. We had Kanye Udo. We've done some stuff with ASU hockey here and there. But the thought was going to be, in this transfer portal era, I think this NIL opportunity for us and for other business owners allows for you to capture the connectivity with players that used to exist, right? Where you'd be able to watch them develop and redshirt and then be fifth year seniors, and you felt like you knew them. What I think the great thing about the NIL opportunities is it affords us an avenue to manufacture the connectivity that a lot of people don't recognize still exists in college football, in college athletics. So that's kind of the 60-second version or 3-minute version of our NIL.
What I took from that was that perhaps your wife was maybe partly to blame for Jane Daniels going to LSU?
Yes. And look, there's a lot of talk about what we were talking about in there. I was laughing with a gentleman. So we all know about the disc, the deep in-state cabal.
Deep in-state cabal. Doesn't exist, but it exists.
It doesn't exist. I'm waiting for the next conspiracy is going to be Jones Auto Centers is funneling star quarterbacks to LSU.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So go work on that one. Get me the conspiracy. Put it on Reddit for me, please.
Sure. It's like the Sports Illustrated curse or whatever the case may be or something like that.
Yeah, well, maybe. If Sam Levitt, and I wish him well. He's been a great young man, and I appreciated getting to know some of his family members through his partnership with us. If he wins a Heisman at LSU, okay, I think we're going to start getting a ton of quarterbacks into ASU, but we just got to keep them here. That will be the next challenge.
Well, but ultimately, NIL is a big part of the ability to retain players when you have a coaching staff that's intact and stable, and they want to be here, and they're being successful. Those ingredients were not all there when you were initially supporting the program in the way that you do. But what has it felt like for you seeing Kenny Dillingham's early success and their ability to retain a lot of their players? Not everybody. Sam Levitt, he left. But if you look at the vast majority of ASU starters, 2D players, they've retained them, and there's no way around it. The financials are a part of that, or the ability to have things in the community that help support some of these athletes, and you've been a spearhead figure in that happening.
Yeah, the money has to be there, the financial backing, the financial support has to be there, but success begets success. And so it's very fortuitous timing for Kenny to have the success he did in year 2 and kind of be able to capture some of the momentum, capture the imagination, I think, of the community. Obviously, we're talking about activating the Valley, but there's still another step there, right? It would be a shame if everybody now just steps back and says, okay, we got a couple whales, or we're hunting for whales. There's still such great strength in numbers, and I don't even think that we've begun to really actualize the strength that we have as a community. A little bit more success in the football team, I think, will go a long way towards people realizing this isn't a flash in the pan, and that there's literally another Cush era awakening right now in Tempe that's going to be decades, not months. And that will be very helpful to try to get people engaged.
Well, I think Dillingham understands, as you do, the connectivity, the synergy of the pieces, right? I mean, you've been a member on the Devil Sanctuary and at Source for many years, and the most passionate ASU fans gather at that place. And our relationship has developed as a result of that, and the ability to be able to reach the audience in the way that we would both like to be able to, in a way that also works for the players and for the coaching staff. It seems like this is something that everybody can win in the way that Dillingham has shared as far as his vision, and it exists in the most successful places at a high level, no matter where you go around the country.
Sure. Yeah. No, so the way that I like to frame it, and what I've always tried to talk to people about, is there are so many Sun Devils in this valley, okay? By doing something that you might think isn't necessarily going to move the needle for the program strength, I promise you it's going to do something for your business. If I was trying to shop for an HVAC company, and I'm trying to decide between Business 1 and Business 2, and Business 2 I know supports Sun Devil Athletics, where am I going to take my business?
There.
Right there. And there's enough Sun Devils in this community to make that a worthwhile effort. And it's social media. There's so many things that we can do to really reinforce the connectivity. One of the things that you said that got my mind going is how long that I've been following you, and such a great job that you do covering ASU athletics.
Thank you.
You and I, we're not buddies yet. We're working on it.
I think we're doing well.
We chat. We had a good exchange today. It made me laugh out loud. Okay. I remember sending pictures of you from behind, okay, catching flights to Stanford to go. I'm like you were a celebrity, right?
He is a local celebrity. You should see when we travel at the airports. It's like flocks of like, oh, you're Chris Cartman.
Extremely niche.
I'm trying to work it out right now in my head live. Chris Cartmashian, okay? Like,
what is that?
Your celebrity status. I'm trying to think, like, there he is, like you're one of the Kardashians here. So
Wow.
there we go. Hopefully that didn't derail you too bad, but there you go.
No.
Who would have thought? So.
Keeping up with Chris Smashian.
Well, that's cool.
The Cartmashians.
The Cartmashians.
Well, so talk to us about your business. Like, there have been, I know, like a couple people have purchased cars.
Quite a few.
Through
I mean, we're
this
probably up to a
relationship
baker's dozen.
Oh, that's great.
And that's just through the Sun Devil Sanctuary.
That's amazing.
Efforts.
That is. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
for
huge thank you. And I don't want to call people out by name. I could call them out by handles, but even that might not be TV appropriate, I guess.
But doesn't that validate your idea that when people are making the right connections and doing things in a synergistic way, that it translates from a business standpoint?
Sure. Yeah, you got to have layers to it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really start to see the success of our efforts with ASU football until I also supplemented them by trying to support what you're doing in the fan community. You have a remarkable fan community in the Sanctuary, SunDevilSource. It's second to none.
Thank you.
And real recognize real, as they say. And so, but it wasn't until you and I decided to try to do something together that like everything kind of settled into place. Like it was the final infinity stone, right?
Yeah.
And everything kind of came into place. So.
Yeah. Well, talk to us about Jones Auto Centers, your Verde Valley location.
Sure.
Like your business and what differentiates you, because you guys have won a lot of awards, and you bring, I think, a very customized experience to the buyer in a way that I think is like almost like a concierge experience for a lot of people that is different than what generally happens with people in their car buying or leasing experiences.
Sure. Well, thank you for that. So our business has been around since 1970. It started with my uncle, Tom Jones, kind of went and sought out an opportunity to purchase a Ford store in Wickenburg, Arizona. That was their first location. And so my uncle and my grandpa got into business originally. My dad joined the fold in the early mid-'80s. And it's been all family owned and operated ever since, and it still is today. We have Jones family members in management positions at each of our 4 locations: Wickenburg, Buckeye, Casa Grande. We were at an event last summer in Casa Grande.
Phenomenal building.
Yeah, cool building.
Yeah.
It's for those of you that don't know, it's the first dealership. It's a couple different dealerships encapsulated in what used to be a Sam's Club, and so it affords you the opportunity to go shop vehicles in a climate-controlled environment during the summer, where you otherwise might not want to be walking the asphalt. Yeah, it matters. So, and then our youngest store is our store up in Camp Verde. That's the store that I'm held responsible for. And to your point, we try to make it a concierge experience. I know that car buying is a daunting and not I just heard it from somebody today. I hate buying a car, right? And that bothers me because people are putting a makeup on me and our business that I don't think I've earned and we've earned. We try to do things differently. My big 3 calling cards, like if my dealership was a Division I locker room, would be integrity, urgency, and creativity. And everything that we do is 100% with integrity. I tell people that if they're unwilling to make a difficult decision that could potentially compromise their integrity, stay home, you're sick. I don't want you coming into work today if you're not willing to make a hard decision to reflect or to put your integrity on display. And then creativity is huge. We live in a world of automation and one-word answers.
Yeah.
If I could challenge everybody at our store and in our team to think with creativity, I think it's a way that we can show respect for people that are choosing to afford us an opportunity during their business. And then another way that we show our respect is with our urgency asset. The time is the only asset that we can't get back in life. So there's no greater way to show respect to a guest's time and ability or decision to afford us business than to do everything that we do with urgency. We win President's Awards each of the last 4 years. It's the #1 award that Ford Motor Company gives out for excellence in customer satisfaction. And we just continue to try to make a car buying experience something that is memorable and completely goes, man, I wish I would have done that 30 years ago. I wish I would have bought a car from these guys 30 years ago, because that is nothing like anything I've ever done before.
But a lot more than Ford, as we see here. Like
right.
You got a lot of different brands.
Yeah, Ford, GM, GMC, Buick, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. We all share our pre-owned inventory across all 4 of our locations, so we are kind of tentacled out in different directions from Phoenix Metro, Northeast Valley, Southeast Valley. And so we all share our pre-owned inventory as well. So usually we have anywhere between 300 to 500 used vehicles, and we share inventory. We'll make it easy.
Well, and we put your personal contact information in the description for all of our podcasts, and people in the sanctuary will be able to email you, text you, whatever. So anybody in the market, this is who we recommend that you only deal with for your next car experience.
Yeah, please.
Really appreciate it, Parker.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Gabby.